so it'd be
He's like, well, okay, now what do I talk about? Oh, here's the... Okay.
All right, so
Okay.
we can start.
Okay. Well, I'm Janet Israel Borst and graduated from St. Mary's in 1979, and I was a business major.
From where?
Oh, I'm originally from Dayton, Ohio. I currently live in Batesville, Indiana.
And I'm Maureen Maureen Seibel Wallenfang. I was Seibel here at St. Mary's. 1978 was my graduating year. And I was an art and English double major with a BFA. And I am from Appleton, Wisconsin, and I live in Appleton, Wisconsin. But between St. Mary's and Appleton, Wisconsin, I lived in New York, LA, Chicago,
Right.
a variety of different places.
Yeah.
But I think I lived in all those places because I had the courage after living in Rome. And what we're talking about today is our Rome program.
Right.
And the Rome experience.
Right. And how it changed our lives, I think. Yeah.
I think it changed my life
Oh, it
entirely.
definitely. It gave me courage to do things. And like you, when I graduated from St. Mary's, my parents said, oh, you can come back to Dayton. You can look for a job, you can live at home for a while if you need to. And I said, I thought, oh no, I felt trapped. I thought, oh no.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I think I'll just go to Chicago and see if I can find a job. I wanted to do something exciting. And I think I might not have had the confidence to do that if I hadn't gone through the whole Rome experience.
I think I became fearless.
Right, right.
I really did, because I wasn't afraid of big cities. I don't know how big your town was that you came from in Ohio.
Oh, it was, I don't know how big, but it was a small city. Yeah, right.
Same here. And
Right.
so we came from small cities.
Right.
Irish Catholic, small town, Midwest. Coming to St. Mary's, there were more small town, Midwestern Irish Catholics.
Right.
And, you know, for me, it was amazing because everybody was like me. There were Maureens, Kathleen's, Colleen's up the wazoo.
Right.
It was, you know, everybody was the same. And then going off to Rome was totally outside my comfort level. I had never been out of the country. I had never experienced all these different cultures. Everyone spoke a different language.
Right. Right.
It was terrifying, but at the same time, it was very liberating.
Right. Right. I think just the first couple weeks were really. I thought, oh my gosh, what did I do? You know, but once you got into it, it was just so much fun and just exploring. It was great, absolutely great.
And you should have seen the wardrobe I brought with me.
Oh, did you? Now, how much?
Totally wrong.
Oh, okay. I only took one little small suitcase, but I was only there. I just went second semester, so I only took one small suitcase. Didn't take enough clothes. And what'd you take?
Everything that was wrong.
Right.
I had mini skirts and
Oh my
I had
gosh.
short sleeves, and you don't show skin
Right,
in
right,
Rome. I found that out very quickly.
Right.
And at the end of the year, I was wearing, you know, Italian clothes, the olive green wool, tailored, long, beautiful things. Not very many of them because they were expensive. I couldn't afford too much, but you know, my style changed. My taste in clothing, food. Everything changed.
Right.
Everything changed. It was a lifetime lived in 1 year. And
Right.
maybe the same for you for a semester.
I think so too. And I remember coming over second semester, and you had all been there a semester, and we saw all of you, and you all had those Italian coats on, and you, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I had a powder blue ski jacket, and it was like, you guys had all become very Italian, and you know, we go to restaurants and you all can order, and you know, and you have to go here and you have to eat this, and you know, we're drinking wine under 21 years of age, and you know, in restaurants, and you guys all seem so much more worldly than we did. We had a little catching up to do, I think.
We became worldly.
Yes, but you guys, when we saw you, it's like, oh my gosh, you all had those. Did you had one of those coats then? Did you buy the coat?
Actually, Camille bought the coat.
She did?
Yeah, and I wore my roommate's coat.
Right, yeah.
All the time. And Camille had all this blonde, fluffy hair, and that was dangerous walking around in Rome. And forced her to wear a scarf over her head most of the time.
The blondes had a problem, yeah, especially if you were really tall. Yeah, Camille and Priscilla, they went crazy over those girls.
Oh yeah, and Barb too.
Oh, Barb. Oh,
And Sheila Kogut.
Sheila, yeah. But there were a lot of girls that were from Italian descent on our program too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think like Sue Marchata, Lisa Malia,
Rosemary Rapelli.
Rosie Rapelli, Angela, and Andrews, she was Italian. Actually, I'm half Italian. Colette Minetti. I think the program attracted a lot of people from Italian descent too.
Why did you decide to go because of that?
This is what happened with me. My sister, Bonnie, who graduated from St. Mary's in, we graduated, so she would have graduated from St. Mary's maybe in 69? Yeah, maybe 69. She went on the Angers program for a full year.
Mm-hmm.
So when she came back, she was, fluent in French, and it was all about the Angers program and everything. And then when I decided to go to St. Mary's, she's like, well, you need to travel abroad and all this kind of stuff. So I was like, oh no, I don't know, football over at Notre Dame, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, and we were there during the Joe Montana years.
Right.
So you wanted to be there for the football.
Well,
right?
I don't know what I wanted, but my sister, I wasn't very good at languages. So she said, well, she kept saying, take Italian and go to Italy. Take Italian and go to Rome, because I think the Rome program was brand new when she was here.
It started in 70.
Right, so it was like the first year, and she actually had some friends in her class that went. She said, take Italian and go. So I said, well, I'll take Italian and we'll see. So I took Italian, and then I arrived at St. Mary's, and my roommate, Colette Minetti, said, well, let's just go to Italy, because she had signed up for Italian, and I didn't know her at all. And she kept saying that, and she said, well, then let's just go for a semester. And that's how that all started.
Mm-hmm.
So if she wouldn't have been there, and my sister, I probably would have never gone.
Oh. I don't know why I signed up for it. It sounded exciting.
Right.
I loved art. I was an art major.
Right.
And and my father was an architect, and so it seemed like it was such a perfect thing to do. And I signed up for it, and I don't have very much of a facility for the language. I had a very difficult time learning Italian, but Camille, my roommate in Rome, Camille St. Hilaire, Camille married Isabel Cecilia St. Hilaire.
Yeah.
Camille had a great facility for languages, and she also spoke French, and she was really good at that. And I was great at math, so I was great at all the conversion rates.
Right.
As we were traveling around and trying to translate all the money, and so I handled the money and the train schedules, and she handled the language, and we worked out pretty well because we traveled all over Italy. All over Europe, all over Northern Africa. We went lots of different places. And I mean, those are extraordinary experiences that really stick with you for a lifetime.
Right.
And so that year of travel and that year of meeting different people and learning how to acclimate to different cultures and all of that was something I wouldn't have gotten here. My St. Mary's experience was wonderful altogether, but that was different.
Right. Right. I think it changed my life. I always said the two, other than getting married, always have to, the two best things I ever did was go to Rome and move to Chicago after I graduated. So, I mean, Rome, I think, was big. And talking about the travel, I thought one of the great things about the St. Mary's program, it gave you so much opportunity to travel because we only had classes Monday through Thursday. We had 3-day weekends. Every weekend, and we went away a lot of those weekends. And then they also had lectures and tours where we all went in a bus, and that was fun. And then we had when I was there, it was a huge spring break because they wanted us out of Rome because of Easter.
And they wanted our hotel rooms.
Right, they wanted our hotel, and you had the same thing at Christmas. You had to actually move out of the hotel, right?
We had to move out of the hotel. We left our luggage, and then we jumped on trains and went off around and traveled all around the place. But those weekends, the weekends that I didn't travel, I worked in the catacombs. I volunteered in the catacombs.
I didn't know that. That's great.
Mike Busk did it with me, and there were a couple of the architecture students, and we did it with the professor, was it Bertinieri?
Yes. He taught that class.
Yes, and so he asked us, do you want to come and volunteer? And so that was an extraordinary experience because we were in the catacombs of Hippolytus, which weren't open to the public, and we were doing grave ribbings and my bus came around the corner one day to me, and I was working on a ladder and doing some rubbings of some inscriptions, and he said, "Do you realize what's around the corner from you?" And around the corner was an unexplored gallery, a hallway of bones.
Just bones?
Bones. And those were Christian believers, and from 2,000 years, not quite 2,000 years ago, but what an extraordinary experience.
Yeah.
To see something like that.
It's amazing that college students with really no experience could just walk into something like that. It's amazing.
And the everyday experiences were also
Right.
extraordinary. You remember mailing a letter?
We were just
going down to the Vatican, because you didn't want to go in the Italian
Right.
postal service. So you went down to the Vatican to mail a letter.
right.
And then while you were there, here was this greatest Renaissance church in the history of Christianity, and you could walk in there, and if you were there at the right time, the bells were ringing, the light was coming down, and there weren't too many tourists around. It was quiet and beautiful, and you could mail a letter and see the Pietà.
Right.
It was an extraordinary place to live because of the history all around you, everywhere, even just mailing a letter.
And I didn't feel like a tourist. I felt like I lived there. So you would see tourists, but we didn't think we were tourists. We were living there. So it was, we were so familiar with the Vatican because we were always there.
Right.
Mailing
And did tourists come up to you and ask for directions?
Well, I looked more, I didn't look very, I was wearing my blue ski jacket and stuff like that. I remember the Italian guys though, grabbing us and stuff like that. But I remember that.
Yeah, we learned self-defense.
Yeah, that was, they actually did grab us and stuff like that.
I don't know if they do that anymore.
I hope not. I mean, that was it's not a pinch, it's a grab.
We were there at a very odd time because, yes, guys could grab you on a bus.
Right.
And it was considered socially acceptable, I guess, at the time. They did it all the time. But there was a lot of social upheaval. There were communist demonstrations. Right. The first day we were there, and that was the first semester, there was a communist parade, or there was something, it was a demonstration going down the street, and they were burning American flags.
Right.
And we were so oblivious to what was going on. We wanted to go to the Il Delfino, the deli across the street, to get something to eat. We walked right through it. And no, that was not a really good idea.
Yeah.
We were safe, we were fine, we were okay. We didn't have any problems, but I don't know if we should have done that.
No, I think when I was there, they had a couple of those, and you were actually kind of delayed getting to class because you had to cross, and they would be having the demonstration, and you'd look out, and it's something like you would see on the news, And what happened was we didn't even really think that much of it. It was just like a part, they're having a demonstration,
And strikes.
And strikes.
They would have strikes, and there's a strike, and they tell you in advance when there's going to be a strike, and the trains aren't going to run, and this isn't going to happen. And you thought, okay. The first time we thought they were bluffing. They're threatening a strike, and they won't really do it. But yeah, we got stuck in Bologna, I think, because the trains did stop.
And I think also, being over there, I don't know how much you were able to communicate with your family, but I would just write a letter home once a week, and my parents would write to me. I only made one phone call the whole time I was there.
I made two.
You made two? And you
That
were
was
there
it.
a year.
Yes, I made a Christmas phone call.
Right.
And one phone call telling them what time my plane was going to land when I came home.
So it was, yeah.
No internet.
No internet. Our parents
No
were
phones, too
I guess our
expensive.
parents were okay with this. And I mean, could you imagine today, everybody being in such communication? But back then, we just kind of wrote letters, and if you asked a question, you'd get an answer maybe in a week or two, and it's just the way things were. And I'm sure to our parents, we came home totally different people. I mean,
What was it like coming home for you?
Well, it was kind of interesting because I was only there the semester, so I wanted to travel afterwards because I didn't go to a lot of the countries you guys did. So I went with I started with a group, and the group kept getting smaller. I think I started with Jane Loretto and Lisa Donovan and maybe somebody else. And then we went to Spain, and then we went up to England and Scotland and Ireland, and then I think my pass ran out, and I thought, it's time to go home. And so I didn't tell my parents I was coming because we had those open-ended tickets. All you had to really do was go to the to the airline office and say, I want to fly home in a day or two, and I mean, very different, and they put you on a flight. So I didn't even call my parents to tell them I was coming, and I flew into Kennedy, and I called them from Kennedy and said, I'll be home like in a couple hours. And they were like, what? Where are you? And yeah, and I walked in, and I had gotten my hair cut in London because I thought, I feel different, I should have a different look. So I had gotten my hair cut like in a style because I had always had the part down the middle with the straight hair. So I like had a style. So I'm sure to them, I was just totally different. Just totally different. How about you?
I came home and I had a little bit of a tough time adjusting because the Roman lifestyle was pretty fabulous. We could come and go as we pleased.
Right.
We shopped in open air
Right.
markets. Remember Campo dei Fiori,
Right.
and the things are just hanging there. The meat is just hanging out.
Mhm.
And so all of a sudden I go to an American grocery store
Mhm.
and here's this meat in little styrofoam
Mhm.
things with little plastic all around it, and everything seemed so incredibly sterile.
Right.
It didn't seem real.
Mhm.
It seemed like I want to go back, and I felt like I wanted to go back.
Right.
I didn't want to get stuck, and I felt kind of trapped again because
Right.
we had had such extraordinary freedom, and we were running our own lives, and we were so confident and
Right.
independent. It
Yeah.
was difficult to
Yeah.
assimilate.
I came home and it was the bicentennial. I remember, and I told my parents, I said, I'm just going to go to Washington, D.C. for the bicentennial. And my parents look at me and they go, no, you're not. There's going to be so many people there. How are you going to get there? All this, I go, well, I'll get there, and I know somebody that lives there. And they said, no, you're not. And I was like, what? How can you, how could that be? And I didn't go. And it was like, I wasn't used to them saying, oh, you can't go. And I couldn't even imagine why they would even think that, because they had no idea what I had been doing for the 5 months prior, They
Right.
hadn't, if they would have known,
They would have said no.
yeah, they would have said, no, what are you thinking?
Would you let a child do what we did?
I would encourage them, but I would tell them to be safe and don't be stupid, because we did things that could have gotten us into a lot of trouble, I think. I mean, we took
a lot of
rides with
risks.
people.
We were very trusting.
We were extremely trusting. I don't think nothing happened,
Right.
but I'm sure things could have happened just like they could happen today. But I would say go.
But you would have more track of them because you have the internet. And
Where you
would-
have the internet.
You would know what your kid was doing, whereas our parents had no idea.
They didn't even know what country we were in half the time.
Right.
We used to, remember when we traveled, there was a sign-out sheet? And
There was?
Well, was it really? I have it in my scrapbook, and it's like there was a card, and you were supposed to, if you left, like the city or the country or whatever. So like I had for spring break, I just wrote down, like Austria, Switzerland, maybe Germany, France. I just wrote countries down, and then I have this card,
Wow.
and you remember how we would meet up with each other? We would
Accidentally.
we'd leave notes at American Expresses. Remember that? And then if you got to American Express, you'd say, "Are there any notes for me?" That actually during spring break, I had been traveling with, I think, Lisa Donovan, because she came over second semester, and we had been traveling, and we'd always check in at the American Expresses, and I got to Paris. And I just checked to see if there was any mail for me at American Express. And Mark Johnson had left a note.
Oh.
And he said where he was staying, but it was dated 2 days earlier. So we went over to that, he was still there. And so then, we had such a good time. But so then and it was just amazing, but that's how we met up.
With me, it was accidental.
Yeah,
we
it's
would go
me
up
too.
We went up to Oktoberfest in Munich, and we accidentally ran
Right,
into some
right.
people in the Hofbrauhaus.
Mhm.
Or there was one time when I was taking a channel crossing from France to England, and I looked, and I saw the back of Camille's head
And you didn't,
I
she was your
even
roommate,
know-
you didn't even know
I
she
didn't
was
even
gonna
know
be
she
there?
was gonna be there. And so we were both heading for England at the time, and I think it was during spring break at some point, and so we managed to find each other and run around.
It almost seemed like a
London.
small city instead of like a continent.
Yeah.
Just amazing. Yeah, it was great.
It was an extraordinary experience, and it did change my life. I do feel like, and I did go back to Europe a couple of times after that and go back to our own stomping grounds. And,
Right.
but I do feel that it gave me a sense of my place in the world more than staying in one place for 4 years.
Right.
Going there was something I would encourage somebody to do. I don't encourage them to take all the risks that we took,
Right.
but I would encourage somebody to go, definitely.
And I don't feel like we missed a thing here. I mean, we still got the full St. Mary's experience. I was just gone a semester, you were gone a year, but I'm sure you don't feel like not being here for a year changed your St. Mary's experience.
I feel that we got
Right.
closer to our classmates who were there.
Right.
Because there were 60 19-year-old girls,
Right.
and there were 6 or 8 guys.
Yeah.
And we were this family, and we lived on the top 2, well, not the guys, they lived in a pensione, but
Right.
but we lived on the top 2.5 floors of a hotel, which
Yeah,
this is
and
the
which is
last year.
deceiving. Yeah, which is deceiving when you say hotel. Yeah, I mean it's a
Yeah.
hotel, but it wasn't
But
like
it was like
a
a
Holiday
dorm.
Inn, right?
No. Tiziano was like a big dorm.
Yeah.
And we ate in the dining hall down there, and
Right.
and all of even the foods, the rolls,
And for breakfast
Oh,
with butter.
moon
Yeah,
rocks.
moon rocks.
Yeah.
Oh God, we love those.
And the pasta alla carbonara.
Oh, what
and
was that, like Wednesday or one of the days we'd
Yeah.
have that with chicken, and that was like we'd all be lined up early for it.
And the saltimbocca alla romana.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And then walking over to Giolitti's
Right.
or the Piazza Navona to get ice cream. Then
Yeah.
later, I gained a lot of weight. The ice cream was really good.
Yeah, I gained some, but I know some people gained a lot. Because I was always.
I was one.
I mean, I think some people had real problems with fitting into their clothes, and it was getting really challenging
Yes.
towards the end. I mean, it was like.
I weighed more than I weigh now, so I definitely gained. So but that was all entirely due to the ice cream.
Right,
I'm
ice
sure.
cream and just like
Pasta,
pasta.
moon rocks.
Well, we drank a lot of wine too. I don't know if you did.
Yeah,
We had-
sure.
Yeah,
because,
which I had never. Yeah, that was fun. I mean, it was just part of the deal. Yeah.
And the costume balls, were you there for any of the costume
No,
balls?
I wasn't.
Because the architecture students always had
Right.
costume balls, and so we had to scrounge around in Rome to try to find ingredients to make togas and
Mhm.
characters from movies, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you know what? I think it also gave us an opportunity. We were at St. Mary's for like a year before, and we had kind of started making our friends, right?
Right.
And then you go over there, and there's some people you know, some people you recognize from Italian class, but I made a whole new group of friends. So then when you come back, you have even more friends. And when we come back for these reunions, it's like I have the girls I kind of knew in the dorm, I have my Rome friends. It's just, it's just so much more interesting. And I think the people that went to Rome, they were a little more bold than maybe some of the people that stayed behind. And I was probably less bold. If I wouldn't have been prodded to go, I probably would have. I think I'm a more interesting person because of it. It kind of makes you take chances now.
Yeah,
so.
I think that's a really good point.
Right.
And I think we're more connected because how many are here from the Rome program?
A lot. I think we have a lot. And I think we do the reunions and we all want to see each other, and it's just.
Because there are only about 80 or 90 from our class altogether.
Right.
But
And
from Rome,
there's going to be about 20.
so we're a fifth
Right.
of the people coming back.
Right.
That speaks to the Rome program.
Right. I can't tell you how many people towards the end of these reunions come up to me and go, I should have gone to Rome. Or I envy that you guys went to Rome. I mean, and it's like people that I don't even know because they see how much fun we're having. And
It had to have been different from other foreign programs because the other foreign programs didn't have as many people, did they?
Well, and we were a St. Mary's program. Like there was the Angers program, and that was a Notre Dame program, and the Innsbruck program. And I think I know the Innsbruck programs, they're all very close, and they have gatherings and stuff like that.
Many.
There aren't as many. It's a Notre Dame program, so the St. Mary's girls that were on it, there weren't as many of them. But we had, And we had some Notre Dame students, girls
We did.
and boys, and then we had a few from other schools. I think there was,
A few.
Francesca and Anna, remember that?
Oh, yeah.
So they came, just a couple of us, but anyway,
Yeah.
it was great, so.
We're getting the nod.
Okay, so,
Well, this is great.
yeah, I think we pretty much covered everything. That was great.
Okay.